If someone would have told me 3 years ago, while I was in the midst of my alcohol addiction, that I was going to get sober because of TikTok, I probably would have laughed. I never would have believed that because who gets sober because of TikTok? But that's literally how it happened for me. Exactly about 3 years ago, sober TikTok had been coming up on my feed for months. And I thought it was annoying at first and it irritated me. But at the same time, I couldn't stop watching it because I found it so relatable. It's almost like my algorithm knew I had a drinking problem. And there was one creator specifically, Daniel Patterson. He posted a video 3 years ago saying that he was going to sponsor a sober September group. It would consist of emails, a chat, weekly Zoom calls, and it was just a 30-day challenge to not drink. It had an end date to it. And something inside of me, it's like God told me, you need to sign up for that. This is for you. And so I reluctantly did. I was terrified. I had a 10-year-long heavy binge drinking career. The most I had ever been able to quit for was maybe a week. I had tried so many times. I had a million day ones. And part of me was like, well, how is it going to be different this time? Is this just going to be another failed attempt? But there was part of me that had hope, that was thinking, well, maybe if I had support, maybe if I was around other people who were trying to quit as well, maybe I could find some success. So I did. I signed up for it, scared as ever. And September 1st came. And I hadn't told anybody at that point because I was too scared to, because I didn't think I could do it. And if I told somebody, that would mean that there's accountability there. If I did fall off the wagon and drink and didn't make it the 30 days, someone would know. But if I didn't tell anybody, then nobody would know and I could just drink and just, it would be like whatever. But I made that commitment and I told myself, no matter how hard it is, we are not going to drink for 30 days. We're going to get through the withdrawals. We're going to detox, and we're just going to commit to those 30 days. You've never done this before, Beth, and you just got to prove to yourself that you can go 30 days without drinking, because I was still didn't want to admit that I had a drinking problem. So I almost went into it with the attitude of I just won't drink for 30 days to prove to myself and everybody around me that I didn't have a problem. And it wasn't easy. I think September 1st fell on a Thursday, and that upcoming weekend was Labor Day. So that was like sober boot camp challenge right away. But I made it through it in the back of my mind thinking it's just 30 days. It's just 30 days. And side note, I had every intention of getting hammered on October 1st. I didn't go into this thinking long-term commitment, which now looking back, I'm thankful I did it that way, because every other time I had tried to quit, it was always, we're done. We can never drink again. So it was the gloom and doom and the future tripping took over. But in the midst of those 30 days, things started to change. First and foremost, I looked so much better. Even after a week of not drinking, my face deflated. You could see my cheekbones. The whites in my eyes got whiter. My skin started to glow. My clothes started fitting me better. I didn't look like a blowfish. And also, I started sleeping better. But the big one was I noticed in my mental health, I had way less anxiety, to the point that towards the end of those 30 days, my anxiety was almost non existent. And I was someone who was convinced I just had chronic anxiety and I needed alcohol to cope with it. But newsflash, Captain Obvious, it was the alcohol that was giving me the anxiety. I noticed I had way more motivation. I had way more energy. I was waking up in the morning ready to go. So when the end of those 30 days came, I wasn't ready to just go back to drinking. I was like, we'll just move these goalposts out and we'll go another 30 days. And over the course of those next 30 days, I started to see more and more. I was losing more weight. My relationships were getting better. I just had a better overall sense of well-being. and the momentum started building. And the way I started to think towards alcohol changed. And for me, that was huge because when you change the way you think about something, you view it differently, and also your actions are different. So then came another 30 days. Before I knew it, I was at 90 days and then 100 days. And then I could honestly get to a point where I was thinking, I like being sober. I like not drinking. I actually like who I am sober. I like my life sober. And it just kept building and building from there. And now I'm coming up on 3 years sober on September 1st, 36 months of sobriety. And it literally started with just a 30-day commitment. It was never something I thought would be long term. But now I look back and I am so thankful that I signed up for that 30-day challenge and I committed to it, because it's amazing what can happen when you just take 30 days off from drinking.